Sir SpankalotUK, welcome to the stream. Um,
Thank you for having me.
I would like to say thank you for agreeing to this and allowing this to be a thing. I hope you're good, I hope you're pleasant, and I will start with this one very important question, which is...
Okay.
Let me see. So, I take it that you've been listening to myself and Serpent Hunter, big ups to him, talk about DSP for the longest time, and that we piqued your curiosity. Is that the case? Was it us?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, when I started doing the Twitch thing,
yeah,
I knew Cyberden, who I eventually, that jumped into one of Logros's streams.
Okay.
And from there, he raided Serpent Hunter, and yeah, it's been I guess we've been friends since. So yeah, so guess it's about over a year ago now.
Okay. More importantly, have we swayed your opinion on DSP before going into it? Or did you make up your own, or come to your own conclusion? Because all we've done is talk nothing but bad about him. Were you able to go into that with an open mind, or like a neutral mind?
That's a very good question. I would say that, yeah, I've heard all the bad stuff that DSP has done and stuff, and obviously people have played videos.
Yeah.
And then you kind of look at what's going on in the videos, and yeah, it just reinforces what's been said. So yeah, the level of toxicity in his streams is unreal, really.
Absolutely. It's really difficult to as well, if you've listened to these already, my last two guests couldn't come up with anything positive that he's done. Neither can I. But we'll get on to that. So, allow me to start with the questions.
Okay, far away.
Let's see. First question. When and how did you discover DSP? Well, you just answered that. So...
yeah.
Is there any particular channel that you watched first? Or did you watch DSP on his channel? Or did you watch links that were given to you?
I never really watched links. It was only what was being played second hand through other people's Twitch streams.
Okay. Yeah. That's the only way to watch it.
Yes, I don't particularly want to give that bloke another a view if I can help it.
Absolutely. Okay, so you were never a legit fan. Were you able to glean any kind of entertainment from him? Like, was there anything good or enjoyable about what you saw?
If anything, I found it more frustrating than anything. It was just, you know, when you watch him even playing some of the driving games, and you can see there's a rock a mile away, and he still manages to hit it, and then he moans that the rock appeared out of nowhere, and it's just. Is his eyesight really that bad, or is he just playing to the crowd? That's kind of
I know.
what got me.
Eyesight, motor functions, something. Um, I I don't know what it is. I think he's just taken poor care of his health. So far, from everything that you've seen, what's the worst? What's the most offending moment? What's the worst thing you've seen him do for you?
It would have to be the blatant begging. It's just it's very difficult to kind of put into words. It's just the way that he begs his viewers for his money, and he just never seems to have an answer for it.
The entitlement.
I mean, I know that you're going.
Sorry.
Yeah, the entitlement. It's just it's all there. He's just like, oh, it's being a very slow day, and then he's begging, and it's just like, how do
I know.
I mean, if you're at the point where you're having to literally go spare some change, mate, on the internet to make ends meet, it's kind of desperate.
Kind of, yeah. I know. But he seems to think it's okay. I don't know how it happened. He's found a group of people who accept it and go along with it.
He's clearly a narcissist, so
yeah.
It fits in with his mantra, and so yeah, he's got no problem doing it. He
just can't.
For a lot of people, it'd be a point of it would be a point of pride for a lot of people to openly beg like that.
Most people will tell you he has zero pride. I think people used to theorize that he did, but he has none. He has no pride, no shame, no conscience, no etiquette, no manners, no common sense, no anything. And I don't want to bring his parents into this, but what can I say? He seems to think it's okay, and he had to have got that from somewhere.
Yeah, you generally would say that, but without interviewing the parents, it's very difficult to say. I mean, they could be complete and utter narcissists as well.
True. I do wonder what their opinion is, and I'd like to know if they actually watch him as well, if they know more than they let on, or if he talks to them. I have no idea.
I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, if he's 40 odd, they're probably in the 60s. So I highly doubt that. I mean, a lot of older people generally don't tend to get the twitch.
They just want peace and quiet, for one thing.
Yes.
You imagine having a 40-year-old who's crying at you the same way he did when he was 8 years old. I'm sure they are quite happy to be well away from that. Red Anime Sir, welcome to the stream. DSP said his mum does watch? Yeah, well. Yeah, I'd like to know what she thinks.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that I was watching the interview with Dominic.
Okay.
And you mentioned how I'd gone down the vortex, and I kind of sat there and I thought, have I gone down the vortex? And then I kind of got thinking, what does it mean to actually go down the vortex? And it's like, well, you'd have to learn about DSP, and then you'd have to probably start analysing him. And it was like, yes, okay, I probably have gone down the vortex then.
Yeah, I think for me going down the vortex, I think yeah, it's the same thing, but also how you react to what you see and what you discover. I can't speak for other people, but I think it's the moment that DSP upsets you, that's the moment the vortex has you. It depends. Maybe everybody's different, but yeah, I guess technically you are. But it's still safe. You still have time to get away.
I mean, you know, you have to learn, you know, what different phrases mean, like a locale and stuff like that, and it's just like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. It wasn't
there is
a month
a
ago.
vocabulary attached to it.
A month ago, I had to describe what lolcow meant. Um, it's adorable because all this stuff I now know, I try to introduce someone else, and it's the same thing. Like, I don't want to pressure them. I don't want to overload them with information. But suddenly they'll hear me say words or use words, and it's like, excuse me, and then I realize, you know, for me, I've been watching DSP since 2017, so I'm well down there. I can't be saved. So, moving on to the next question. In the content that you've seen so far, and all that you've seen, have you ever caught yourself being angry at what you saw?
Yes, I've definitely caught myself being angry. It's half the reason why I generally won't try and watch him, because he's such a toxic character that yeah, I don't understand how people can watch him all the time and not take some of that toxicity on board.
Yep.
So yeah, there is stuff where, you know, the begging, and he just generally, I mean, for somebody who supposedly plays games on the stream 6 days a week, he's incredibly bad at it.
He's never.
I mean, most people are just, you know, just pick up a controller and have fun.
Right.
He just, I mean, it was the bit where Elden Ring, where he's fighting that boss, and he must have died 200 times on that boss. And if you were a regular viewer of his, you must have turned around and said, what the hell is going on here? Why doesn't he just stop playing this game and just pick something else up and just have fun with it? Because it just turned into a complete stream of him just complaining endlessly about the boss fight. And it's just, that's not entertainment.
No, it's not. But it's just, sorry to cut you.
Yeah, by all means.
There is a thing where some of his fans do pay him to rage, to be mad at the game. But there's a difference. When he pretends to be mad, you can see he's not genuine. But it seems to work, and it still gets the money. But then, on the other hand, he, like you say, gets real mad, and nothing is his fault. And the game dev did something wrong, and he's always right.
Yeah, well, that goes back to him just being the narcissist that he is. He just can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
everything he does is right. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get onto the side scrollers podcast, but yeah, that just reinforced yeah, the fact that he is such a narcissist, and he just believes he can't do anything wrong.
To such a degree that it's like a mental block. Something's missing up there. But let's move on to the next one then. So, okay, but first of all, do you feel justified in being pissed off at what you saw? Like, do you
yes.
think, okay.
Yeah, I mean, going forward, I doubt I'm going to be watching his content.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the type of content that I want to subject myself to. I'd much rather watch something that's fun and
Meaningful.
uplifting.
Right.
Yes,
I totally understand.
and when you're watching his stuff, it's the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
And it just,
I know.
What the hell?
I have to say, to listen to what you're saying coming from you is, yeah. I've been looking forward to this.
I haven't watched enough of his content to be annoyed at the snorts. I don't think.
Okay.
It would go down to probably either him being blind or just ignoring what's going on in the game to just moan on it.
Yeah.
The moaning is just it's taken it to an entire new level. I mean, okay, games do have glitches and can be janky at times.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're but he does it incessantly.
I know.
And it's so low brow that I do not enjoy it at all.
Indeed. Most people agree with you. It's trash. Most people enjoy games. Most people stream video games because they like to play them. And then you have this guy who's using them to make money, but at the same time talking down on them and all the work that goes into them, and ungrateful. But what can you do?
Yeah, he just seems to just rag on games that I mean, Elden Ring sold millions and millions of copies. It's not the type of game that I want to play because, having to be button perfect would send me up the wall. But I can't believe that he had 200 attempts on that boss. That was, and even then, it wasn't that he beat the boss. It was just that the RNG just didn't actually perform some of the moves. Whether there is a special counter in the game that just didn't perform those moves after 200 times, I don't know. But it was very suspect, and he's probably playing that on baby mode. I found it all very bizarre that he could sit there for 200 times through multiple sessions.
What game was it?
Doing the same thing.
He recently he played one game and he had to turn the difficulty down, and then when he was about to win, turn the difficulty back up again. It might have been Elden Ring. I'm not sure. I don't keep up with his games as much as I used to, but I've heard that somewhere. Um,
Yes, I heard that as well. I'm not entirely sure what game it was.
okay, what we're gonna do now is move on to my favorite question.
Go on then.
Is there anything positive about PSP for you? Anything good that you've seen him do?
Any good that I've seen him do? No, I don't think so. I generally couldn't say of a single moment I've seen him do something that's either, well, obviously begs to benefit himself, but beyond that, I don't think I've seen him to do anything to benefit himself.
Well,
it's just,
sorry.
there is nothing that I've seen of a redeeming feature that I could point to and say, there's hope for this man.
That's 3 times in a row. 3 guests. 3 times they've said to me, no, I see nothing he's done. Okay. So, moving on swiftly. In the short time that you've been watching or just checking out what he does, have you ever wanted to reach out to him to give him a word?
In short, the answer is going to be no, because I mean, the Side Scrollers podcast showed us exactly how that would go.
Yeah.
The Stuttering Craig did an exceptional job of trying to even just get his mind rolling in the right direction of, you know, getting himself some help, or to think about, you know, his business model going forward and stuff like that, and how he, you know, and it all just fell flat on its face. He just hates them now, and he's still doing exactly the same thing. If you reached out, you'd be wasting your breath.
Exactly.
You'd be wasting your time.
Yeah. Mentioning Side Scrollers, is there anything that podcast, is there anything Adam and Craig didn't do or didn't ask that you would have wanted to?
I don't think so. I think they did their homework was pretty conclusive. It was clear that Adam didn't like the man.
Indeed.
You could tell from his posture, but Craig clearly was trying to offer some advice or some guidance, and to get his mind moving in the right direction, and even just to help him with the WWE Champions game, to even show him his profile, and Stuttering Craig would say yay or nay whether that was his profile or not. It was just Craig gave him so many outs that an ability for moving himself forward,
Right.
and he took none of them. He took absolutely none of them. It's just the classic case of a narcissist just thinking they're right all the time, and nobody can help them, and they're doing nothing wrong.
He looked at Adam and Craig, and he knew he wasn't going to get through to Adam. He knew his pity tactics wouldn't work on him. But Craig, because Craig was reaching out more. That's what DSP wants. He wants you to reach out, to sympathize, to so he can just tell you and give you the puppy dog eyes that, well, woe is me. Like, my life is tough. But trouble is, Craig did his research, and it doesn't work like that. Not in the real world. You can't just, everybody knows his routine now, and the only people that put up with it are mentally challenged. What can you do?
It does seem to be that way, that his audience. I mean, I don't know who's watching him now, but yeah, you've got to be slightly wrong to keep watching that day after day, week after week.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how some of the detractors actually put themselves through that level of toxicity.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
Without coming away with, I don't know, it's yeah, you can't watch that stuff without it affecting you somehow.
You look into the abyss.
Exactly, and it stares back, and it's just, yeah, it's something that I'm very aware of, and that's half the reason why I generally won't watch his content. That's half the reason why I enjoyed the side strollers interview, was because somebody else was leading the conversation.
Right.
And they made such a good job of it. And he thought he was coming out on top of that. I still don't understand how he thought he was coming out on top of it. But, he agreed to stick around afterwards, and I thought at several points he was just going to rage quit and just disappear. Because the level of questions that he was getting were, well, they were truthful, but DSP had no real answer. He came out with a load of spiel, and I'm guessing DSP thought that kind of got him over the line. And it's anybody with any brain cells watched that interview, and it was a train wreck.
Yep. I've watched it 5 times.
Yes, he was constantly talking about the same set of stuff, like how difficult stuff is, and how money and stuff, and it's just like, if your life was that bad, you would take a loan out, and you would sort out all the issues, and you'd keep your head down for a while, and you'd sort it out. But DSP doesn't seem capable of doing that.
He took out loans, but it's what he spent them on that's the problem. And even though he said in the interview that he didn't take out business loans, I can actually show you footage where he says otherwise, much like most things he says. But we'll get into that, or we will get. That's the topic for another time.
I don't think he'll ever learn. I mean, there's always the conversation about, will he ever go out and get a job? And I don't think he will. It comes back to, I think he will die streaming, even if he has to go back, live with his parents. He'll just continue to stream and beg for money there. Even if, his marriage falls apart, he loses his house and his businesses, and it's just, I don't see him ever learning, because I don't think that man could possibly stick a job. I don't think he's got what it takes to be told what to do.
Good point. Good point.
Because he would, and he'd have to start somewhere down the bottom rung of a business and work his way up. I mean, I can't remember what his degree is in.
Business. I can't be more specific than that. I just know it's supposed to be a business degree.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, what type of job are you going to get? I mean, I would hate to think that man would rock into a manager role, because he would be the worst type of manager over people. I mean, it'd be a lawsuit just waiting to happen in America.
Indeed.
Where he would just start to bully people because they aren't doing what he's telling them to do. It's just, no, I don't think that man can possibly learn any new tricks.
That's a good point.
Because if he had, he would have been doing it on stream.
Yeah.
Because his stream hasn't really changed its what it's doing over the last couple of years. I mean, half the time when I see video clips, it's just, you could turn around and say, well, which year is this from? Because the recipe just is not changing.
Dominic! He's been in a situation for 15 odd years. He's sitting in an office, if you will. He's never had to answer to anyone. He's never taken orders. He's lost every job he did have. Even if he was to find a job now, I don't think he could. I've not actually thought about that before. I don't think if someone said to him, go over there, stand at the checkout and pack these bags, he'd probably do it badly just to not want to do it. I don't know. I just don't think.
He would have to be so far down on his luck. I mean, he'd have to be, I think it'd have to be a toss-up between him living on the street or packing groceries to actually make him suck it up. Because I don't think he'd want to live on the street, but it would take something like that to actually force him to actually take instructions from somebody, I believe.
This is a guy who absolutely refuses to give up his lifestyle. He is used to expensive things and finer food, and if you take that away from him, that's the end of everything. That will break him. So I can't imagine him taking a job, any kind of job, because they don't have the same comforts that his streaming does.
Yeah, I mean, he complained once about having to eat a ham sandwich. It's like, nothing wrong with a ham sandwich.
Right?
I've eaten plenty of them in my time.
Right? A good old bowl of wheat.
It's like, just because, just because it's not coming via DoorDash doesn't mean that it's not just as good food. Yeah,
I've made do with Sainsbury's own brand baked beans in the past. I have we used to go to the reduced section. That shit tastes good when you haven't got any money. Trust me. But this guy, he talks to you about lobster, sushi, world foods, robust cuisines, and you know, then the next minute he's broke apparently, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the problem. Is he still thinks he's somebody that, you know, he kind of deserves this, and
Yeah.
it's all part of the narcissist's playbook. And he's obviously got no problem begging on stream for the money for it, so he's going to do whatever it takes to keep himself in that lifestyle for as long as he can.
Well, I for one hope it all comes down, crashing, burning, all of that.
You know, if YouTube cut him off at some point, he'd suddenly have to come back to Twitch and start there again.
To do that,
and he's already fallen foul of Twitch once, so yeah, it's a bit unknown exactly quite how he'd get on and he'd fare, because he could wind up with a complete loss of his livelihood, and did wind up back at the parents.
What he has to do is he can use Twitch now. He could have an affiliate or affiliacy. He could co-stream to YouTube and there at the same time. He could be doing more than he's doing, but his ego, after everything he said complaining about Twitch, I think he's making it more difficult for himself to go back there. But I don't know what's going on in his head. He's a very difficult individual.
He'll wind up just following the money. That's what he'll do.
Well, somebody approached him with 50k, and he said no, because deep down, I believe he was afraid of having to what's the term I'm looking for? He didn't like being called a lolcow, and he doesn't want to self-deprecate unless it's on his terms. So if someone else is helping to make him look bad, he can't, for any amount of money, do it unless it's all under his control. But he doesn't understand that when you're broke, you don't have options. You know, you need to take what you get, and it's not every day that somebody approaches you with $50,000, and that's just a startup fee. That's just a startup.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
it would have been the start of a business relationship that could have gone on to bigger, better things, and maybe DSP would have actually learned some stuff about what goes on YouTube and how it all works, because Keem definitely knows what that is all about. So yes, I found it rather bizarre that he at least wouldn't have seriously investigated it.
The more you think about it,
because I mean, 50,000
I know
is a lot of change.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's not to be sniffed at, or not to be snorted
Exactly.
at. But you know, it's DSP. Before I get to the last question, I need to ask you something else. I hope I haven't overloaded you and given you too much content, DSP stuff to talk about. I hope I haven't rattled your brain with all this shit. It's a lot to digest. It's a lot to take on. And
no, I mean, I handle what I intake of that man.
Yeah.
Because yes, I'm very aware that it could negatively affect me. So I'm just very careful at keeping that type of content at arm's length where possible. So
Absolutely.
yeah, if I wasn't prepared to do this chat, then yes, I most definitely I wouldn't have done it. But yeah, I've actually enjoyed the chat, so it's been good.
Literally, thank you. Same way, I feel the same way. Can't thank you enough for this. But it's like with my guests, I'm learning as I go. So with each different guest, it's a different person, a different case, if you will. And yeah, this has been fun for me too. Thank you to you, Killer, Dominic, and everybody for watching. And without further ado, last question. So we talked about him getting a job, or if he would ever get one.
Yeah.
And if he dies streaming, what would you like to see him do? What would you like him to be able to, I don't know, how would you like to see him succeed if he could?
I mean, there are a number of ways that he could succeed. I mean, he could, he could turn around and do I mean, I don't follow all his content, so I know that he started to doing a DSP Reacts. So he could, he could take that forward. He's got his podcast, but I don't think he's ever had a guest on it, from what I understand.
He doesn't work well with people. That's the best way I can
Yeah, I think that seems to be pretty self-evident, really. I don't know. I mean, he could try and, do something with the detractor stuff.
He could.
But he doesn't seem. He could do some stuff there, and all it takes is a bit of imagination and just try some ideas out and just see if any of it sticks.
Trouble is,
but he just.
Sorry, go on.
He's so used to doing what he does, and that's it. That's his recipe. And he doesn't want to. This comes back to the entire learning thing. He doesn't want to learn.
No, doesn't have to.
Well, he might do it at one point.
He likes ideas to be other people's. He wants you to think for him. That way, if it fails, he can blame you for it. And but if it works, you're not going to get any credit. So this guy is a mess, and this is why I'm doing this. Every question I've got and every question I've asked, there's no hope. It's really dark. And you are the most recent person I know. I mean, the one person I know most recently watching DSP, and you say the same as everyone else. And
yeah, I just don't think he's going to change. It's just if he needs more money, he'll just stream a bit longer and just constantly beg a bit more. It's just, at one point, it's going to be him streaming 7 days a week begging, and it's just, yeah.
You haven't even watched him for a year, and then there are some of us who have watched him for a decade, more than a decade, and you have it right there, audience. We are all saying the same thing. from different necks of the woods, from far and wide, young and old, you name it, we all agree on DSP. And I'm only 3 guests in. Once again, thank you, Sister SpankalotUK. That's the end of my line of questioning.